It's called EPIC, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. EPIC is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. EPIC is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. EPIC is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.
That's right. Get this volume up here. Dredd, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to KG's putting on the second annual Reptile Breeder Show down in LA. That would be the first this Saturday. So if anybody out here is going to make it to the breeder show, hopefully I'll see you there. So
that's right, representing LA. You said it's a one-day show, is that right?
Projects and have a good time.
It's a one-day show, Saturday only?
Yes, Saturday only.
Excellent. All right, you got your questions queued up for our guest tonight, Dredd?
Oh, I've got a few things, but let's just let him run with it. You know how we do.
That's right. And everyone in the chat, thanks for showing up tonight. If you can share this out, we want to represent the Naughty Nation as best we can for Mark. Without further ado, let's bring up our guest of honor tonight. There you are. Hello, sir. Welcome in.
Well, thank you. Nice to be here.
Thanks for carving out some time for us. I really do appreciate it, man. How are things up there north of the border, sir?
We had a break in the weather this week, meaning it got slightly above freezing, but it's been probably the snowiest winter
really
I can remember in probably 25 years.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, on my snake building, which is a separate building, there's 3 feet of snow on top.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Now, luckily, I've got a tractor and a snow blower, and I've been able to handle it pretty good. It's kind of fun, but it's ton of snow, just a ton of snow. So,
so how big is your snake facility approximately?
Well, my whole building is, I'm going to say 42 by 24. And of that building, 24 by 24 is rats. My snake room is 24 by, I think, 18, I'm going to say. And then I have a secondary room, which is just strictly hatchlings, and that's I converted my garage into 2 rooms. I used to operate both rooms, but now I'm just operating the hatchling room. So it's not huge, which is great because you fall into that thing where if it's too small, you can really overheat. And if it's too big, you have to have supplementary heat. Whereas in my snake room, I don't have any supplementary heat other than the racks.
Really?
Yeah.
And
okay, I was going to ask,
it must be well insulated then.
Mm-hmm.
Is it well insulated if you're just using rack heat to run it?
Yeah, it's 6-inch walls thick.
Oh.
Okay, and it's solid insulation. The attic or the roof is all blown in insulation. It's probably 2 feet deep.
Oh yeah, you're solid then.
Yeah, I just put a steel roof on it last fall, which I'm really happy I did, because had I had the old roof on there, I don't know if my roof stayed.
You didn't know what this winter was going to hold for you, huh?
Yeah, no. So it's it's a great room. What I do is I have an exhaust fan from the snake room into the rat room. So when the snake room comes to a certain temperature, which is 80, the exhaust will turn on and blow hot air into the rat room. So it heats the rat room as well.
Ah, very nice.
That's a very genius idea.
It's interesting that your rack heat gets that room warm enough. That was, they always say you after you move in a place to a new snake room, either on a location or in your own house, it takes you a year or so to get it dialed in. Your humidity, the material of the wall, everything from your drafts to. It sounds like you really got that dialed in. How long have you been in that particular snake room to figure that kind of a temperature gradient out?
Probably 20 years now.
So just a minute, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the what was interesting is when I first moved into the room, I put down a subfloor because I didn't want to be on a concrete floor because
Hmm.
concrete's very cold. It's always difficult, heating the bottom level of the rack compared to everything else. So what I did, I have ARS racks. On every level, I have a 6-inch heat tape panel.
Hmm.
And then on the bottom, I have 12-inch.
Ah,
Okay,
yes, the bottom, the notorious cold toes. I know
right.
it.
So I have the 12-inch on the bottom. In some cases, I'll depending on feeling the rack out, I'll put two 5-inch panels there. So
Yep.
that looks after the bottom rack, and the supplementary heat. Heat always rises, so it helps everybody else up above. Um, the other thing I do sometimes, you have um, you've got your heat panel, and it's great for if you've got 4 tubs or 3 tubs wide. The end tubs never get the same heat as the middle tubs do. So I have a really cool gadget to cut styrofoam precisely. So I buy that, styrofoam that's got the aluminum foil on one
Yep.
side.
That mylar
Yep.
foil is wonderful.
I'll cut squares or rectangles and I'll insert them into the side of the rack.
Uh huh.
So that kind of contains some of the heat that's in the sides. Just little things like that, make all the difference in the
Man,
world.
it does. And you're right. I mean, so you've been in that room for a while. You've got to know it like the back of your hand. And that is so important. And that is touching on something I wanted to, which was the difference from the US side of the border to the Canadian. We're all in the same landmass, but you deal with a different market, different rules, different regulation, and obviously different weather we've touched on.
Yes.
So hearing, how your temperature is so much colder, I mean, that's great to kind of like take some of that away. And I'm using sealing heat mats on my underneath the bottom of my racks. So
Okay.
not quite as elegant as yours, but I have found my lower tubs were 7 degrees colder and
Yeah.
therefore missing the marker where they need to be. And so I use these sealing heat mats. They're really affordable. It's like a pair of them for $30, and they got a thermostat made in line. Now you can't hang your hat on that little LED, LCD really thermostat because it's cheap. But that's what a temp gun's for. So you dial it in, and I've been using supplemental heat underneath the bottom of my racks. So that's cool to hear some validation. That's a good idea. What do you think about what's the differences? You deal all over the globe, so Canada and the U.S. are very closely tied. Morph market. There's been so many changes and so many, in my opinion, great things going on with them and shipping,
Yeah.
shipping supplies, all that good stuff. What do you see? How is Morph market on your side of the border? Has anything changed for better or worse for you?
Well, we can't get more market shipping up here or the supplies. We only have.
Okay.
I'm not sure. We have Reptile Express, which I use quite often. We also have. I think Ship Your Reptiles might be up here as well.
Okay.
Never really utilized them. And Reptile Express is a Canadian company, and I want to support a Canadian company. When it comes to shipping overseas, I do everything. I'll ship directly to either the customer. I ship to Japan, and I have one person there that I deal with strictly. So I don't sell individuals. I sell to this one person, and he distributes. UK, I use Scott Wilkinson Reptiles and Tom Wolfe
Yep.
for shipping to the UK. And shipping to the US, I ship to a broker in California, and then Nicole out in Rhode Island does my distribution there. She doesn't do any sales or anything like that. It's just the snakes go to her, and she sends them out. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got it pretty nailed down. I think Morph Market is fantastic. I've done very well on Morph Market. Now, I will say that I'm way behind in getting my snakes posted. Again, like I said earlier, I get in my own way. I have to have it just perfect, and the pictures have to be perfect and representative of what the snake truly looks like. Because,
Well, I mean, look at your photography. Look at your background. Your background's to die for right there. And your photography is always really predictable, really well lit. Really, you're getting the wow factor of the animal and nothing more, nothing less. So, I mean, that attention to detail pays off. I learned that Emilio Villarino told me, you're someone that he looks up to. And consequently, I look up to Emilio. We've been lucky enough to have him on the show here. He doesn't do many interviews.
Yeah.
And I was in his Patreon for a while. And he kind of shared some of those photography tricks with me. And I don't have the equipment to be quite as clear in my images, but I've taken the composition notes. And I think some of the stuff, a phrase that I like, you don't go in the business, you grow in the business. And when I spouted that off one day, he chuckled and says, yeah, I got that from Mark. I can't take credit for it. So I think some of those things that you've kind of shown the industry, man, they're standing the test of time. They really are. People use them as a measuring stick.
Well, it's funny because I did the breeder pictorial page years ago, okay, when I did my very first website. And I came up with some terms that weren't being used. And I heard one the other day. Am I frozen?
Let's see. You are at the moment, Dread. I see you nodding. I'm nodding. There you go. You're back there, sir. You're good.
I just got a new internet provider. We're in the middle of the country. And I'll tell you, I was with Starlink, and it was up and down like a toilet seat. It was just terrible. So I got a new provider yesterday, and I'm really pleased with them so far. So I'm happy this is working.
That latest satellite probably went down in a heap of flames when that rocket went up. I don't know which of the dozen times it was, but we can hope for the best.
Yeah,
we could, but I had to basically say goodbye to Starlink, and which I'm not sad to have done.
There you go.
All right, but so I use all these expressions, and a guy said I think it was in a podcast or a question, and he says, my female has a tail suck. It's in a tail suck mode. And that was a term that I coined in the breeders page, when they're just about to ovulate and you see their tail just kind of suck. And I coined the term boob eggs. People were afraid to.
Really?
Yeah, boob eggs. That was coined.
Wow.
The glow before they go was the term I used in the breeding pictorial. And I mean, that breeding pictorial is over, I'm going to say 20 years old now. But, a lot of those things stuck. And just like, grow in the business, don't go into business. And things like that. And I just saw somebody laughed at toilet seat, up and down like a toilet seat. But, it's kind of rewarding when you see people repeating some of the stuff you came up with. You've had an impact in some way on the industry.
Right. Yeah. Well, you definitely have. I mean, that's for sure. That goes without saying. I think everyone kind of looks up to you as a measuring stick, man, for real. So that's something to be proud of, no matter what you do from here on out in the industry. You've already made quite a name, and I think people aspire to. either unearth some genes like you have. And you and I chatted today a little bit via message on Instagram. I have a
Yeah.
screen share to bring up some of those photos and talk about some of that. When you unearthed was the phrase I chose, because you had come up with Scrambler, but it wasn't. It was kind of a hidden gene. Is that it wasn't really known. You put some interesting things together that struck you visually, and then here we are with Scrambler, which is one of the hottest things out there. Before we get into that, what else do you think is hot on the market right now? I mean, Sunset's been all the rage, and there's Ultramel Pied, and there's a lot of other one, Rainbow and Puzzle. It's like a new flavor of the week. Scrambler's been scorching hot. What else do you think kind of rivals that as far as popularity? And what's your opinion right now of the new genes that are it?
Pastel.
Wow,
No,
what?
Absolutely.
I'm absolutely kidding. I
You
know
got me.
I know
Absolutely.
everybody's hating on pastel right now, which go ahead and hate it, because back in the day it made me a lot of money and put me on the map. Everything comes around again, and I saying you don't like pastel is saying you don't like putting butter on your toast. I mean, it's not a huge impact, but it's very necessary in certain situations, right?
Oh man, it is perfect in certain
There
combos.
you
You are
go.
not kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at, for example, Desert Ghost, great gene, love the Desert Ghost gene, love it to death. You add pastel, you got a completely different animal. I mean, it pops.
Yep.
Well, so you can't really take pastel away from Desert Ghost and say just a straight Desert Ghost is just as good.
Tri-stripe. What else? I had one on tip of my tongue a minute ago. It was so perfect with pastel puzzle. There's a
Yeah,
couple of them that just go so well together.
absolutely, absolutely, especially with tri-stripe, Desert Ghost tri-stripe.
Ooh, yeah, that's a nice
Yeah.
animal.
Right. There's not many of them out there. I'm working towards it. I find I've got some females I'm breeding this year,
Us too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm breeding pastel triple het Desert Ghost tri-stripes, to other pastels to produce potentially super pastel Desert Ghost because that'll help in for future breedings. But I love that project, and if you don't put pastel in it, you do not get the same effect. So everything has its place. I mean, you were talking about cooking earlier, and using a smoker, and depending on the wood you're going to use, makes a huge difference,
Oh
Sure.
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Oak,
Yes.
It,
cherry,
You,
apple.
you
I
you
mean,
got cherry, you got post oak, you got pecan. Okay, good Texas barbecue run post oak and pecan,
yeah,
and right and whatever. And is it right as you getting to the same point with the snakes? Yeah,
it makes a big difference.
makes a
So
difference.
you
What
know,
goes with what versus what's going to go? Okay, that's pretty good, or okay, but that's
yeah.
great.
But I'm going to say right off the bat, I am not a fan of the. I like Sunset is starting to grow on me, but what's a monsoon? Yeah, I'm just not a fan. I was there for the whole
Yep.
pinstripe thing. Am I freezing again?
yep, your
Yeah.
audio's clear. Yeah, there you're back again. It's every time you ask if you've frozen, you unfreeze. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know,
I'll do that. But it's not that I don't appreciate that people like monsoon. What I'm finding in this industry is tastes can vary greatly.
yeah,
But a lot of people jump on projects just because everybody else is jumping on projects, and they're looking at the dollar signs as opposed to, do I really like this snake? Because I can guarantee you, if we went out in the street and we showed people that were not into ball pythons or, looking at snakes, if you showed them certain morphs compared to other morphs, you'd be surprised that some of the least expensive morphs would be the ones that.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Banana Enchi, you take them out there, show them a super OD Enchi, just
Yeah,
something pastel.
Hey,
They're gonna pick
I
that
vended my
over a
first show
monsoon, I
this
would
year,
say.
and kind of on that note, I walked around looking at it, and it was some of the just your simple codom, 2 and 3 gene
yeah,
codoms was moving the most. I mean, people was like, these are awesome snakes. They look good.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And look, it's easy to make a very complex looking snake that have, three recessives and three codoms on top of it. The challenge is making an amazing snake with just three genes. That's
There you
what.
go.
Okay,
That's my takeaway for today. That's my something new.
right. So
Yes.
if you can do that, and desert ghost, tri-stripe, pastel,
Reach. I
right?
love it. I love that combo.
Exactly. So and so yeah, so uh, the gene I really really like right now, which I think as far as will always blow my mind and pleasing to look at is puzzle. I think puzzle's gonna is the new clown. And
So
look,
much.
I love clown combos. What Justin has done with clown combos and everybody else has done with clown combos, I love them to death. Um, and clown has been around since the early 2000s. I mean, in the late 1900s, clown. So it's had a phenomenal ride. I mean, a phenomenal ride.
Yep.
And then you got pied. That again, if you went out in the public and you started showing snakes and you started showing pieds would win every time. Okay, and because they're kind of like the koi of the reptile world.
Yes. Well said.
Okay, and
Hmm.
it's what your eye gravitates towards. And pieds, a lot of people, I'm not going to breed pied anymore. You can't sell pieds, whatever.
What? That brings
Oh,
people to your table. I mean, that's crazy.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I got. You asked me to bring some live snakes. Now I've got two here, but we'll get to them shortly.
All right.
All right.
You
Uh,
surprised me, sir. I did not expect that. Right on.
okay. And but I like pied combos. I like in particular what the scrambler does to pied combos because you can't get the pattern and the color in a pied that you can unless you add scrambler to it. And she has tried,
What about
okay,
pinstripe in there? I've heard pinstripe's a secret ingredient to bring pattern back into your pies. Have you played with that?
but not taking away the white.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Scrambler takes away the white. So you wouldn't even know it's a pied other than splashes of white here and there, and it's usually down near the tail.
Right. And I have a Gene X that's like that.
There you go.
That came from Kevin McCurley.
Okay. Now, didn't Gene X, it wasn't Justin working with Gene X or?
I think I heard that as well, but Kevin I thought come up with it or
Yeah,
discovered it.
Kevin's come up with a lot of genes.
Yeah.
I'm working with a gene here that Kevin came up with, and it's called the uh,
Yeah.
Jaguar gene, and it does some amazing things. Um, And I talked to Kevin. I saw him at Tinley this year, and we spoke. And I said, "What do you do with the Jag?" Because I ended up buying. He ended up selling one male to a guy, Ray Lee, and he paid like 10,000 US for this one male.
Whoa.
And then he bred them, and then he got out. He's a racing guy. He races down at Daytona and stuff. He runs a team, and he sold me the whole project, and it was a pretty neat gene. Michael Graham up here in Ontario, he bought a male from me and he started pushing it
So is it a recessive or
No,
a codom?
it's codom.
All
Yeah,
right,
incomplete dominant.
that's great.
Yeah.
I think it opens up the options a whole lot more, in my opinion, as amateur as
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
What do you think of zebra?
Um, Again, if you don't have pastel and zebra, you don't really have a, all the ones that I've seen that I like have pastel in them.
Okay.
I think it has a lot of potential, but I've got some snakes here.
Oh, you're frozen on us. You got to say the magic words.
Hey, unfreeze.
Oh, I was hoping it would work. There it is. It was just slow.
I wonder why it's freezing like that. I mean, I've got good.
Things have been smooth on. I don't have hardly any tabs open. I just have 3 tabs, and I don't have anything really bogging down here. Things look good. I'm not sure, but at least it's very minimal and temporary. A couple weeks ago, there was a winter windstorm blowing into the Northeast, and my guest from Balls of Fury, Mike, was in Rhode Island, and that whole region, friends of ours that were watching the show told us they had high winds up there, and internet and electric was cutting in and out, and we had a heck of a time that week because audio would keep carrying, but the video seems to be the first link that lets go. So
Hey, nothing's as bad as Kyle's rotary dial-up.
the McDonald's internet at Kyle's snake facility, oh,
Yeah.
everyone gives him so much shit for that.
I'm surprised you even know what rotary dial-up.
Oh yeah, I grew up on rotary.
By the way, this is pure vodka. No, it's not. It's ginger beer.
Wow, my mom's a big fan of ginger.
Yeah, ginger beer. Fever Tree ginger beer. Bold and spicy. There
Nice.
you go. New
There you
sponsor.
go.
Yeah. Um,
That'll put lead in your pencil.
yeah, it's good. Anyway, where were we?
Well, we were just kind of kicking around some of these. You'd mentioned Jag. I asked you about
Yeah.
zebra, and we've kind of continued with the pastel being essential in a few spots. I agree with your thoughts on puzzle. It's the one gene that, I don't have money for. That's the number one highest on my wish list right now. I've got a great boy waiting for it. I'll make 100% hets when I get the right girl, and then I'll have to go from there. But I love puzzle as well. I think it's a scorching hot project.
Yeah.
Scrambler is screaming hot right now. There's some of these things that have broken from fringe to just the mainstream that everyone wants to see worked in. And your thoughts on pastel? I saw a tri-stripe VPI on the market once. It was
Wow.
10 G's. It wasn't very good looking. And I don't know if anyone who produced it is listening. I hope not, but it needed pastel or something else with it.
No, but you're right. I mean, Mark can even speak on that. You have snakes that maybe you and I don't look visually appealing that are in the upper 10, maybe 20.
It might have needed
range.
DG or pastel. I don't know, but it was only that price because of the jeans combo. It carried visually. It wasn't super attractive.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, for example, axanthic clowns. I don't think they're very attractive, but then you start throwing Desert Ghost onto it, and you start throwing other things, and they get very attractive. So
Yeah.
it's just a combination, you need to come up with that's going to work.
So, all right. Speaking of perfect segue, I've got this screen share loaded up from our chat today. You had shared some animals with me.
Yeah.
It might bump us off, so we'll have your audio. We might lose, not lose, but we might get bumped off in the layer. So it'll probably be these animals primarily on screen. If I have any bank account numbers, social security number, blood type, or anything showing in the background of my screen share, I apologize. But let's talk about some of these. I'll just go through the ones you shared in order and talking about some of this. And let's see about expanding if I can. Well, and let's spotlight that. There we go. So I've got 2 of these that are quite similar in appearance at a glance. Tell us about these first 2 that you had got and the very beginning of the scrambler craze phenomenon.
Yeah. Okay. So the 2 pictures I sent you, they're the same snake, just a little bit different position.
Okay.
All right. But when when Oz was working on the Orange Dream, and Oz and I have been friends since, the very first Tinley. So I'm going to say 2002, 2003, or something like that.
Okay.
And he was working with the Orange Dream. And, a lot of people weren't jumping on the Orange Dream. And he had a lot of faith in the project. And obviously it was orange. So did I. I love orange. So I ended up buying an Orange Dream off of Oz. He went to Tinley and had a table there, and I ended up buying one of the first Orange Dreams that he had available to sell, and it was a cracker of an Orange Dream. But then, and at that point, they still hadn't produced the Super Orange Dream. All right, so then I think the following year, I'm going to say 2011, he produced the first Super Orange Dream, and
2011. Okay.
okay, I'm pretty sure it was 2011. So I said, I got all excited about. He sent me pictures. I got all excited about how beautiful it was. So I bought one of those immediately, and so I bought a Super Orange Dream from the first clutch of Super Orange Dreams that he produced, and I was one of the first ones to buy a Super Orange Dream.
Really?
Yeah, because Oz and I were really good friends. We used to speak every day, and
Okay.
so, anyways, this is that male. Okay, this is the first Super Orange Dream that I bought. Now, think
Ha.
about it.
It's
when
gorgeous.
you when you buy an Orange Dream, you know what an Orange Dream looks like. Then you see a Super, you don't know what a Super is supposed to look like, right? So you look at this and you go, "This is incredible." Now, the picture of this snake, it's probably a year old at this point,
Okay.
and it's so clean. And dare I say, there's no pastel in there. It's
Wow.
it's got fire in there, Super Orange Dream fire, but it's so clean. It almost looks Desert Ghost, and in some ways, cleaner than Desert Ghost.
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm surprised there's not an entry or something in there. The black lines are so unmuddy. They're so tight, and that's interesting.
So, unbeknownst to me, this was the original carrier in my collection of the Scrambler gene. So
Huh.
I've produced lots of Super Orange Dreams and lots of Super Orange Dream fires, but unless it has the Scrambler gene, it does not look like this. Okay, like super clean. So this guy here had the Scrambler gene. So I bred him to other Orange Dreams because I already had Orange Dream females from breeding my original male and producing offspring and whatever. And I had bought some females from Oz. So they were grown up. And I started producing some really, really crazy, clean, uh, super reduced pattern snakes that just got brighter and brighter with age. And I thought, oh, this is what the Super Orange Dream does, right? Because you didn't know. You just assumed this is the Super Orange Dream doing this. Well, years later, and I kept on producing these animals, and I'd go to shows, and people would say, "How come my Super Orange Dreams and my Orange Dreams don't look like your Orange Dreams?" And I said, "I don't know why." And then I started producing other snakes that, and in particular to pieds, and I noticed the pattern was completely different from your traditional, train track pattern, the orange with the two train tracks coming down the middle. That was the pied pattern. Well, then I started producing heavy pattern pieds, and I had two snakes that I had labeled as Super Orange Dream Hypopides. And I bred them and started producing these crazy pieds with this, same pattern, but they weren't all Orange Dream. So those pieds that I thought were Super Orange Dream were just Orange Dream Hypo Scrambler pieds. Okay. So what that told me was that the scrambler elevated the brightness of these snakes to make me think they were super orange dream, when in fact they were not.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of debate about scrambler, and a lot of people basically think I'm full of shit.
That's
But
what I wanted to touch on tonight. Not that I think that, but I do hear point counterpoint about, oh, it's just a line of super OD.
yeah, sure
Because
it is.
you got Chris Hernan with the deep orange and not super high OD. So there's all the is there different lines of Orange Dream, and like what are your thoughts on that? So I'm glad you brought that up, because I definitely want to hear your point counterpoint, to for and against it, those arguments.
Well, number one, I appreciate whether you like it or not that you're talking about it, okay? Because it creates conversation. And there's always, no matter, what the gene out there or the new gene, whether it be a subtle gene like chocolate or, you know, um, other subtle genes out there that aren't necessarily pattern genes that people will be very skeptical about. And, there have been some situations where people, I remember the guy soaked some snakes in Kool-Aid and tried to sell them. I don't know if you remember that deal. He got a ton of money from American breeders. He was over in Poland. But everybody says, well, it's just Orange Dream. It's just a traumatic Orange Dream. You can't do it without Orange Dream. Well, the snake you're looking at right now does not have Orange Dream in it.
No Orange Dream. All right.
Okay? So that is just a scrambler pied het axanthic, het MJ axanthic. That is it, just those genes. And you can see, I mean, can you tell me if you've ever seen a pied with that kind of pattern before? That is a straight pied.
No, it's got a lot more black line work and just disruptive patterns than you normally would see. I feel like you might get hints of those black patterns, but it wouldn't remain so bold and so complete. And also, it's really irregular.
Yeah.
Like I almost think this is a Gene X, or there's something you can't necessarily put your finger on, but it's busy. It's heavily patterned. There's some goldens in the tail, towards the tail end of that animal, but along the mid part of the body on up to the neck is definitely more heavily patterned than you would usually see in a pied, for sure.
It kind of reminds you of that one I made that I held back.
Mm-hmm.
That Gene X, but not.
Yeah. So here's a snake that does not have Orange Dream in it. And a lot of people say, well, how come we're not seeing just straight scramblers? I mean, probably 80% of my collection has Orange Dream in it. Okay. I make my reputation or my brand is orange, as you can see behind me. So, I go for, orange snakes. Um, Now I do have others, out there that are like, I've got yellow belly scramblers, yellow belly Java scramblers. I've got a lot that don't have Orange Dream, and I did a pictorial on Morph Market. You can go there and see some of the snakes there, and I've got what I'm calling a straight scrambler, nothing else. So it's all on Morph Market. But you have some other pictures there.
Yeah, let me pull them up if I don't knock my table over in the meantime. Let's see here. Here we go. Put that on the scene.
Okay, so that there is a pied, right? And again, look at the pattern of it, and that was a pied to pied breeding, so that's why I know it was a pied. But that is just single gene, Orange Dream, hypo, piebald, scrambler.
Look how intense the orange is on the lateral sides down towards the belly. There's like an orange has been brushed in there with watercolor, aside from the golden sections inside on the back dorsal pattern.
And that's the thing with scrambler is, I always say, look at the last third of the snake, and that's where you're going to get the intensity of the color. And you're also going to get some smudging, especially if you throw calico in there. I have a picture I sent you of calico. But that snake is a prime example.
That one.
Yeah. Now that potentially could be a super scrambler. Okay, but that is a super orange dream, fire, calico, scrambler. There's no hypo in that whatsoever. And you see how from the back third of the snake, how it all just kind of smudges into itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very typical of scrambler.
Like you ran out of toner on your printer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you get real crispness at the top end of the snake, and then you get that bleed of pure orange into the back.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
So these here are Orange Dream Hypopide Scrambler. Let's bring that one up.
Yeah, that's just orange dream, hypo, piebald, scrambler. And here's the thing, we were talking about pied, and everybody's saying, oh, I don't like pied anymore. You can't get this pattern unless you have pied.
Huh?
Okay? So you want, look, I might be biased, but I would take that over a monsoon any day as far as that type of pattern, because I like a chunkier pattern.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
There's some monsoon that I've kind of grown to like. I want to see more from it, but a sunset, I'm not personally a fan. I know there's more to be done with that gene, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But sunset, as it is now on the market, I I would invest in it. Not that I say it's a bad financial or anything going forward. I no hate on it. It's just not for me visually, aesthetically. It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I like a certain look, and this type of chunkier is, and this the same could be said for puzzles. Okay, I like that look where it's almost a puzzle piece. Now this is the first Super Orange Dream
He's on
Hypo
your nose.
Piebald Super Scrambler, and I proved it out this year. I got about 3 clutches that he produced, and every snake that came out was a scrambler.
So that I was going to ask you, aside from the breeding, proving it out, how the difference between scrambler and super scrambler. I noticed in a lot of your descriptions that it's possible super scrambler. So I was wanting to know, like, what leans towards perhaps a little uncertainty. How do you, this one you proved out, but when you have a possible super scrambler, what is there any visual cues, or are they subtle or non-existent?
Well, they're usually a lot brighter color wise,
Okay.
and that. But because I really discovered it when working with pieds and noticed, wow, this is completely not expected, this pattern or whatever. Now I've got it in other things. And for me to label it, if I breed scrambler to scrambler, or I breed, super scrambler to scrambler, you're only going to get so many supers. I don't want to label it as super. I would rather label it as pos super,
Yep.
because I don't know. I'm still learning how it interacts with certain genes.
So you told me some of the timelines when you first got that. When did you make your first scrambler that you said, aha, this is it? When you had that really amazing, that back pattern that's maybe it's a terrible description, but like the reverse hourglass of a on the back of a black widow. I feel like they're reversed hourglasses. They're concave as opposed to a convex. Then they bend in and they repeat down the dorsum. When was that first time you saw that animal out of the eggs and you said, holy shit, this is it?
I'm going to say probably 6-7 years ago. I knew.
Really recent.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And look, I just thought I was producing kick-ass animals, but then I started seeing it more consistently and more consistently, and then I'm going, yeah, there's definitely something going on here. There's a breeder up here. His name's Matt Pistone, and I sold him a snake, and I said to him, Matt, I think this has this new gene. I want you to let me know how you do with it. And when I produced that super scrambler, he produced one about 3 hours later, same day. That looked
Really?
identical
Wow.
to it. Yeah, yeah.
It was this one we're
Wow.
talking about?
No. The
Oh,
other super scrambler,
let's see here.
the pied. Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah, yeah,
Same day, within hours. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Man.
Well, now since you've been doing this, I mean, you've been working this scrambler thing. Let's say 10 years, give or take. Plus or minus. Have you
Uh,
been compiling or stacking sheds? To start sending that somewhere to get that database going for that gene.
yeah, the problem is that most of the snakes I'm producing are stacked with other genes. So they have to separate those genes and have tests for those genes before they can pull it. So I'm trying to come up with the most basic combos, and I am sending those genes in. So can you see this guy?
Yeah, right there.
Yes. Yep. Yep. That's awesome.
Gorgeous.
This is what I think is a super scrambler as well. I've got him labeled as super scrambler, but I mean, you look at that pattern in the orange, and he's a September baby. The closer to the tail, you'll see more intense coloration.
Hmm. It's really cool how the black goes like a shadowing up under. It's like the dorsal pattern sits on top of the animal and casts a shadow. But
Yeah,
instead of being black, it's this bright, vibrant yellow, and then the orange is up under that black shadow. That's really cool.
yeah, and with the super scrambler, you're not going to get the crispness in the black as you will in a non super scrambler. So I'll show you here. I've got one other. Now, this is not hypo. This is just Super Orange Dream Scrambler Pied.
Mm.
You can see how crisp that is.
Yeah, the other one, they're different, but both amazing. I really like that at a glance. I
But
love that.
but this just shows you that you keeping it simple like that. 2 and 3 genes, you just have gorgeous animals.
Exactly. Like this is, yeah, Super Orange Dream Piebald Scrambler. End of story. You know?
I've been seeing, and maybe it's just my own echo chamber. I've been seeing kind of a drum beat of people saying just three, codoms. It's resurgent of codoms. People are
Yep.
learning that the more recessive you want a triple or a quad. I kind of liken it to an old school slot machine. So when you pull the lever, you need the first digit to roll up on a 7, and there's 0 through 9. The second one has to roll up on a 7. The third one has to roll up on a 7, and the fourth one. So that's you're hitting your quad. Good luck getting all 4 of them to land on 7. You might hit a 7, a 0, and a 2. Well, you only, you know what I mean? Like it's so hard to get all 3 triple and quad recessives to hit. But when you're working with these codoms, you can, like you're saying, find a recipe. Maybe it's a Lelix, maybe it's a yellow belly or something. You're putting other things in that aren't relying on the recessive odds, and finding really great. Maybe do one recessive, 2 codoms or 2 allelics, and finding that secret combo. We've learned, like we were excited to start with about tri-stripe pied, and I can't find a picture on Google about it. And then I found out from somebody, and I can't remember who, said that they look really bland, like a Mojave pied. It just is like a golden saddle, lax
Yep.
pattern is not exciting. And I said, well, that's why I can't find photos. Nobody's working it because it turns out to be kind of eh. So when you find that combo that enhances each other and doesn't water each other down, that's the secret sauce. I feel like. What do you think about this new resurgence leaning on codoms?
Oh, I think it's fantastic because I think some of the most beautiful snakes out there are co-dom or incomplete dominant. I mean, you can't argue that in the last 30 years, the most incredible incomplete dominant snake is the banana.
It's great, and I'm seeing it in really high end combos now. Everyone poo pooed on it, and now I'm starting to see it in these animals that are stacked, and you're like, wow, banana was the ingredient to make that thing go over the top. Who doesn't love bright yellow animals? I mean,
Oh, for sure, for sure. And again, if you were just producing snakes to sell to the pet trade, if you had wholesalers all around the world that you could send them 100 snakes and you send them 100 banana combos and they put them in their terrariums in their shop or whatever, that they'd be the first ones to go.
yeah.
We at the show that we sold all those bananas literally like the first 3 or 4 hours of the show. That like whatever we had was
Yeah.
gone. Like,
It's what
that
got me into ball pythons. I started with, I mean,
Yeah.
I got into this over a year ago with a direct intent to have my dream animals, which was green tree pythons and Brazilian rainbow boas. I kind of backed into ball pythons when I realized how much was going on with the genetics, and I was like, holy cow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Bananas got me in. That's what I ended up with, was a pair of bananas. It's either pies, bells, or bananas usually, right?
Yeah.
But
Bananas
if
got
you
me.
stack the right genes in the banana, it keeps that color vibrant and bright. You can keep that going for years to come, and it holds its color and looks good.
Produced are scrambler bananas. I should have sent you a picture of one of the scrambler bananas, but
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
there's no. Can I send it to you right now?
Yeah, it'll come through my chats, and I can tune it up. Yes.
All right.
Scrambler banana.
Let's see if I can.
So we got a question earlier about champagne. It scrolled by. I know Josh, one of our show sponsors at Having a Ball out of Florida, he asked about champagne and I believe Scrambler together. And I saw some of your posts. Your post when you read into them more, and I dug into your Instagram deeper. There's a lot of humor in a lot of your posts, which I enjoyed. And I saw you about champagne making a comeback. What are your thoughts on champagne, and what are you doing with it? And have you put it with Scrambler?
I believe I have some champagne scramblers, and I'm breeding them this year to see if they are in fact champagne scramblers. Okay, so here's.
Wiz, I agree with you there. Pied, bell, and bananas. I really, you got to hit the whole room when you have a table vending. You need stuff that you need, affordable $40 animals. You need $100, $200, $500 animals, and you need those investment animals too. And I agree with you, Wiz. Pied,
Oh
bell,
yeah,
and banana.
all my
You got to
pie
have the
stuff
whole
flew
thing.
off the table.
If you want foot traffic, have all of it. You can't just cater to one or the other.
No,
Right.
what?
That
Let's
thing
see
is
it. Let's see it.
awesome. No,
Let's
I don't
see
know if
it.
I can show you guys this.
Well, you best text it to me then.
Oh my God. I'm not just building this up. Holy shit. Look at this thing. Ow! The clean.
Oh hell yeah!
It's like a neon bulb down its dorsum.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It doesn't even look real.
No.
Yeah, you're right, Bo. So I love lavender.
It doesn't
That's-
even look real.
Dude, I mean, I hope it comes across and does it justice on screen, but those lines are crisp and fuzzy at the same time, where it plays a trick on your eyes to where it looks like a neon or some kind of someone did it in Adobe Illustrator and blurred the graphic edge. It's just got a glow to that broken dorsum pattern.
Yeah, no, that has Orange Dream in it as well. And potentially, I think either cinnamon or black pastel, I forget right now. But
Banana scrambler
see, no spotting whatsoever.
with some OD, probably some black pastel.
That's so smooth. That's smooth.
Jesus, Josh. It's why we call it naughty
Now see
business.
that right
It
when you
looks
talk about what's visually appealing to you, that gets me excited right there.
It looks like
Yeah.
a vanilla.
So
Right?
I was.
When you see this excitement, then that's what I'm buying that snake.
Forgive me. I know you said orange dream. Tell me this combo again, Mark, please.
I'm gonna say it's Orange Dream, banana. I think cinnamon or black pastel. I'm gonna say cinnamon, and I think that's it. That's it.
All right, pencils down, students. No more notes.
Well, funny thing, I got all that over here. I just need some scrambler.
Dude,
Be gentle with the cat.
Man, that is unbelievable.
Man, I'm excited about that one.
Speaking of needing some scrambler, shameless self plug here. So while helping move some animals, you know, I'm not exclusive by any means, but having some access to animals of yours that we're trying to move stateside. Anyone is, I mean, I think the prices are incredible. People that have put deposits in, I thank you. We're working on when we're going to ship that. I think we've agreed upon the shipping routes working better now for
Yeah.
both you and I and the customers, most importantly,
Yeah.
to where it's most affordable and reasonably possible to get them through the border in a group, in a, you know, in however many animals it ends up being. So I'm really excited about that new development between us and that list that I have. I'm sure you're well aware what's on it. What would you like people to kind of take from that list, or what do you think that, aside from just hey, get an animal from you, but what do you think people should key in on, or any words of advice if they're looking through that list to move their own collection forward?
Well, you know, the Achilles heel of the ball python industry from day one has been they look great as babies, but they don't look good as adults. Okay, we've always been plagued with, you know, great looking hatchlings. Look how bright they are, but boy, when they get old, they fade out or they don't
Clown
look.
and pastel. I'm looking at you.
Well, yeah, and the one thing that you know the scrambler does is it gets better with age.
There you go.
I've got females in my breeding room that are at 3,500 grams. That you saw the reaction when you saw that banana.
Whew.
You'd have to change your underwear. I mean, I'm telling you, the color on them is so bright and so clean. Um, you just wouldn't believe it, you know. So they've been bred this year, so we'll see what happens. But you know, the key is if we're gonna survive as an industry, is to what we do is we produce living art, and we cannot survive purely on selling to other breeders. If we're just all a bunch of breeders, uh, it'll only go so far and it'll stall. We need to be able to hit the market where you know people are buying these snakes because they are just that beautiful.
Man, I couldn't agree more. That is so
Right?
true. And going into this with the intent to breed,
You're
I
right.
started in reptiles into like
Mhm.
93,
Uh-huh.
94. And, you know, so I got into them a long time ago, got out of them in my 20s and 30s and been back into them for a decade. But I agree with you. When I went into this very purpose driven to breed snakes, as I wanted stuff that was visually stunning, that even a person that doesn't like snakes, at least through the internet or a book or walking by a table, could go, holy crap, that's gorgeous, that's beautiful. That So I completely subscribe to that thought, man. I think that is really important that non-snake people find them visually attractive, no matter who they are. And so that's a great mindset to kind of keep in your head, instead of just always like, well, what can we do next? What can we do next? What can you do to visually wow both yourself and your customers? It's an important step. You had mentioned banana, and I think in one of your posts you had mentioned Wookie and banana go together like what, peanut butter jelly. How come they work so well together?
I don't know. They just, you know, the purples are so great in them and they really draw the color out. And it's just one of those combos where it's just two genes that seem to work its magic. I'm a big fan of Wookie. Big fan of Wookie. Big fan of chocolate. I've got another gene called the Java,
Yes, I saw that on your list. Uh-huh.
and it's a great enhancing gene as far as making things richer. You know, kind of like what the chocolate does, but there's no super version that is dramatically different from just the base version.
Yeah, the super
Um,
version.
it is incomplete dominant, um, but you don't see it as strong as you would with some of the other, you know, genes out there. So, but you know, getting back to you know producing snakes that people just want to buy, you know, because snake owners they just can't own one. But, you know, if they've got a rack of 10, that's pretty manageable. It's one of the most least expensive collections of pets you can have.
Yeah.
And you can still go on vacation. You can leave for a week and leave them there. All you need is somebody to check on them occasionally. And even that can be a detriment because people will open up tubs and then not close them all the way or whatever. But they won't wake you up at night, and
Nope.
they're incredibly beautiful, and they're also incredibly calming. When people hold them, they just calm right down. You would think it would be the opposite for people. Yeah, exactly. Snake.
Yeah, snake yoga.
Yeah. I've had people come over here that are just wound, and because of their occupation or whatever, and I'll put a snake in their hand, and they just completely become mesmerized. And because the movement is so fluid and so slow, and the tongue is flicking, it's a beautiful thing. And in reality, I mean, here are two guys in the reptile industry, both of you, and you've never seen a banana scrambler. Blew your mind.
No.
Let me tell you this: 99.9999% of the world's population has never seen a ball python like we produce. You produce, I produce, all of us produce.
But what you're getting at, I mean, you have a visual animal, right? Something that's visually appealing and beautiful like that. Someone goes to a show, that's never had a reptile or
Yeah,
snake. They get that snake. Whoa, look at this. And just like you said, they show their friends, oh, that's beautiful. Now I want one. Now I want one. Well, that keeps it going. And then they want to buy two or three more, five or six.
yeah, and people are becoming more and more animal people because, quite frankly, humans just
Suck.
you don't know what you're gonna get. Animals are more predictable than humans. Animals don't have opinions, so they're easier to deal with. And, whether it's fish, whether it's dogs, cats, horses, I mean, I've done it all. There's your dog. I mean, they're the best companion, the most loyal friend you will ever have. Plain and simple, you know? And so people are gravitating more towards whatever. And I mean, the shows we do up here, there's everything. I mean, our big shows. There's dogs, cats, fish,
That's CRBE or a
CRB.
different?
Yeah. And so we are exposing these snakes. Like you had a picture of my booth up there. Uh,
Yes. I
and
thought it was impressive. We don't get to see that on the stateside. I know you go to Tinley, you vend sometimes, you don't, but here on the stateside, we don't get to see it. And I just thought the panache of your display was worth putting it up there, man. When I saw that, I was impressed, and I know David Join Reptiles said he gets the privilege to see it in person, so I thought it was worthy to throw that up there. Very professional setup, of course. You expect no less.
well, I appreciate it. It's again, it's one of those things where it has to be absolutely perfect because you you're creating impressions,
Mm-hmm.
and especially the most important impression is towards somebody that hasn't been exposed to our industry yet. And if you can create a very positive impression, you're doing the whole industry a
Right.
favor.
It's not just having a beautiful animal on the table. It's you being professional as someone in
Absolutely.
the hobby. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you're a bit of a Renaissance man. You like to garden. I've seen that. You like to cook.
Yeah,
You like the ability of animals to calm people and that interaction with them. You're very attention to detail. You're great with your genetics, and the ball pythons kind of set their own bar in the marketplace. We covered that. What did you do for work? What was your work? What's your background initially before ball pythons? What gave you this analytical eye that going into this life now?
well, that's a good question. I mean, I had your typical jobs where I worked for different company. I was mainly in sales
Mm-hmm.
and that. I was in the publishing industry, and it's funny because everything that I did really well in and I did for like 10 years. I always do things for 10 years, except for ball pythons. This is year 25 for me. And which really says something, because I get bored and then I want to move on to something else. But if I look at, all of the things that I did in my life that I did really, really well at, they were things I knew absolutely nothing about.
Oh, good. There's hope for me still then. Awesome.
Yes.
So I mean, I was in sales, and then I went into publishing, and I remember I wanted to go work for this magazine called Sound and Vision magazine, because I was really into audio, like hi-fi, listening to music. I'm a big music buff. I love
Great.
history of music, and I love the music. There I am. I'm frozen. Anyway, so I mean, I grew up in the golden age of music. I grew up in the absolute best era of music the world has ever known. So, it all the way from Elvis Presley all the way up to, today. I'm not a big fan of music today. I'm more of a 60s and 70s. And
Man, I hope I pick good music
Well-
selections for your
well-
promos. When I do
well,
these
I
promos for
heard you're a
guests, I
big Pink
always try
Floyd
to
fan.
understand
What's
them a bit, and I use their music, no matter if they're young, older than me, doesn't matter. I try to get their vibe, because we want to always celebrate our guests, yourself included, but we want to have them feel like they're featured and having fun. So I hope
Yeah.
I pick some decent soundtracks for your stuff this week.
Honestly, I didn't really listen to the music. I was just looking at the
Fair
image.
enough.
Like, I will say that when you click on a reel, 9 out of 10 times I turn it down, because the music just doesn't do it. I'm a very visual person. So when I hear music, I see things. I mean, it's almost like I'm seeing a performance, like a stage musical performance. Like today, uh, when it was rat cleaning day, so I bring out a really good Bose system into the rat room, and
Yes.
we pick a band, me and my friend, and we listen to it. So you basically go and you pick the essentials from the band. We listen to it all day, and we really crank it. And today we listened to Supertramp,
Yeah.
and we listened.
Goodbye, stranger. It's been nice. Hope
Yeah,
you
I mean,
find your
if you
paradise.
listen to that band, there's nobody that sounds like Supertramp
No, including me.
ever. Okay, yeah, especially you. But and then we listened to ELO, Jeff Lynne
Electric Light Orchestra.
Electric
Yes.
Light Orchestra. But can you guess what my all-time favorite band is?
Pink Floyd.
I'm going to say Rush, because they're Canadian.
Well, I saw Rush. I've seen them probably about 6 or 7 times. But Pink Floyd is the band,
Okay.
absolutely. And I saw them 4 times.
I
And
did not get to see them, but I love Pink Floyd as well.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
When I was in the Navy and I would get off shift, I'd put on my headphones and throw in Dark Side of the Moon or just whatever I had and just kick back.
See, give me
Yeah.
just a second. Jared is a really great mind at Selective Creations. I love his podcast. And Mark, he had a great question for you. I'll throw it on screen again. Do you have any dinkers that you haven't fully worked out yet?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So I've done. I've been credited with 4 genes: Blade, Java, Scrambler, and MJ Xanthic. Okay. I do not want to take credit for the Blade because it was out there already. I just found it and gave it its name because nobody was giving it a name. Okay. But I have one now that I'm hoping will prove genetic, because the puzzle was just a spontaneous mutation. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Okay, so basically, now this is the story that I've gotten. I could be wrong. Somebody could correct me on this. But when the puzzle was produced, they bred the puzzle back to its mother and did not produce one puzzle. And the breeding was done several times. So the puzzle was actually just a spontaneous mutation, just like albino is, lavender
What?
albino. Those are all spontaneous mutations. Piebald, spontaneous mutation. Okay, it wasn't like you bred this snake and this snake that they both carried, the pie gene, and all of a sudden the piebald came out. It was a spontaneous mutation.
Mm.
So the snake I have, I call it the wave, and it's because of the pattern, and it's a very dark snake, and it just popped out, and it kind of is reminiscent of the jungles. Remember the classic jungles? Did you ever see the classic jungles? They came mainly from
Only in carpet pythons. I don't know it in the ball python world,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
mainly from pastels. Here we go again. But they never proved to be genetic. But you looked at them and you went, yeah, that's a pastel, just a little bit different. But this one does not have any pastel in it at all. So I'm not sure if I'm going to breed her this year. She's a little young. I think she's a 22, which isn't too young, but I do like to get the right size on them before I attempt breeding them.
Do you have a weight threshold that you shoot for?
Old school 1,500 grams. I mean, I know a lot of people are breeding them at 1,000 grams.
I hear in between the two ideas.
Yeah, but
I
also
think
you made
1,000 is
mention,
too
right?
small.
Given it the time like that, you're also focusing on the maturity of the snake as
well,
well.
it's like horses. You can breed a horse at 2 years old, but it's not good for the horse.
No.
Right? Usually you'll breed them minimum 3 years. But I don't know. The one thing that a lot of people lack is patience, and you need patience to be successful in this game. Okay, there I am.
Yes. Yeah, and I
clap
definitely
off.
work on that. I'm not a patient fellow, so it definitely has been a lesson I've had to work within myself, because you're completely right.
Well, I've heard of another one that you worked with, or what's the super duper about?
Well, that's interesting, because again, that I think was like just a fader gene, and I started breeding pastel to pastel, and I was producing supers that were unlike any other supers out there. Like, they were super faded, but I never did keep going with that gene, because I don't want things to fade out. I want them to stay crisp and bright. So I don't know. To this day, maybe it was another gene, that was in my collection.
So I want to look at I've brought up a couple of your darker animals on here. Let's talk about the MJ line, if you don't mind touching on that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other versus other xanthics. How did you find it? There's what? GCR, MJ, VPI, TSK. Are there any others lurking out there that you know of? We'll bring this one up here. This is some of your MJ xanthic. Now, what are your thoughts on that? How did you come across that and prove that out?
Well, GCR is proven to be MJ.
Ha aha.
Okay. They produced their first axanthics, I'm going to say, in 2012, and I did mine in 2010. I did mine 2 years prior, but it popped out of their collection, so they thought they had a new line of axanthic, which I can't blame them for that. I don't, but I was the first to produce the MJ axanthic. Basically, what happened was, my first piebald I bought from Doug Beard, and Doug Beard and Janie Mousen. They were down in Florida. They had bought a male pied from Pete Call when they were first being offered for sale. And I think they paid something like $25,000 for the pied that they bought. I then, when they produced pieds, I bought a pied from them. I was on their list to get one of their first pieds that they got. That pied was the carrier of the MJ Xanthic line.
Wow.
Nobody. Okay, so Pete Call obviously brought in, like, he used to have a lot of wild caughts, and he must have brought a female in from Africa that carried that axanthic that was a het. Okay, and then he bred that snake to his pieds to produce het pieds. Little did he know, it was also half of them were getting the axanthic line, and it traveled with my snake. And when you breed, you're breeding to produce hets, and then I bred not the father back, but another male back to those females, and lo and behold, I went down in my incubator and I saw two little heads sticking out, and they were silver and black. So I thought I must have VPI. Okay, was in my collection somehow. So then I went out and I bought some VPI females. I went like visual VPI and visual snake keeper axanthics, and bred those to an axanthic that I had, a lightning pied, and didn't produce any axanthics. So it's now proven through shed testing it is its own line, and GCR is basically MJ line. Whereas
okay,
so snake keeper line is also what Justin was pushing was the dark axanthic or black axanthic. Yeah, black axanthic.
Black, yeah.
Isn't that another word for TSK, or am I wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just another line of the TSK, the black.
Well, it is TSK.
But it's the same. Yeah, there's TSK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking for anything.
Okay, you see the picture of the three guys standing there?
Yes.
You asked me what I did before. That I ran a professional bass fishing series in Canada called
Nice.
Pro Bass, and I knew nothing about bass fishing, nothing. But I got a ride in one of the bass boats, and I thought, man, this is what I want to do.
Ha.
And
Hey,
so
and bass fishermen only know one speed: fast.
yeah. We always it was when I had hair, and you come in and you go hair by Ranger. You know, it was like kind of it'd just be straight back. Anyway, the two guys there, Jim Bitter, he finished second in the Bassmasters Classic a year before I met him, and Bernie Schultz is there in the middle holding a smallmouth that we caught on a lake up here. And I was sponsored by Ranger Boats. I did that for 10 years.
There's that 10-year mark, huh?
Yeah, did it for 10 years. And then I got into TV, making TV commercials. Again, knew nothing, absolutely nothing about it. And I just...
So what's next? Knitting with Mark, or what's happening now, man? Watercolors? What else are you going to jump into?
No, I don't want to say I'm done, because now when I'm looking for something new to do, we travel, to different countries, and we're very exotic type travelers. So
good,
going to different places and getting into places that people don't go to is kind of our deal,
Have you been to Antarctica? Speaking of travel, let's pop up this pic. What's up, Dan with Colorfully Vulgar? Thanks for this. Is Machu Picchu here?
Machu Picchu. Yeah, we've been there. We've done this one twice. First time, just Jane and I went, and we did the trek, which is a full day trek up to Machu Picchu. It's actually up and then down to Machu Picchu. It sits in a valley. It's
Wow.
spectacular. And then I think 2 or 3 years later, we took 20 people
Ah, nice. What a trip.
and did it, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was,
So it sounds like you have no plans of slowing down until you just can't.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I turned 68 this month, and you know, I feel good and whatever, but I I'm a very rich man, and I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about experiences. And that's how you get rich in life, is by having experiences.
Amen.
And that's what we're all about. My wife is a travel agent consultant. She puts together these amazing trips. We're going to in November. We're going to Cambodia and Thailand.
Oh, it's supposed to be remarkable there.
Awesome.
Thailand, yeah, Cambodia, Borneo.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be beautiful there.
Yeah, we last year we did Bali. Next year we're going to do Sri Lanka and the
Oh.
Maldives.
Are you going to get one of those little tiki huts over the water that you can see through
Yeah,
the floor, and you got a boat right off the edge to yourself?
yeah.
My
So
man.
do you try to do any, like, go herping or anything when you do some of these trips to see the?
No, I really don't. I mean, I guess I should, but I mean, to some of these places, Mexico, and there's iguanas everywhere. Last place we went to in Mexico, there were actually crocodiles just right next to the resort.
Oh
And
yeah, when we was in Costa Rica, we had the iguana swimming through the pool with us.
Man, I want to
oh
go
yeah,
to Costa Rica so bad.
we were in Curacao, and we were at a resort, an all-inclusive resort, and we were there to just chill. And there were these iguanas. By the end of the week, they recognized my voice,
Huh.
and and I would be at the bar ordering a drink, and the people would say, "Your girlfriend's behind you." I mean, they'd follow me into the bar, and I'd be sitting on a lounge chair, and they'd come and lay on my chest, and
Ah,
people were freaked out by it. But if you're kind to animals, and they have a tendency to return that favor.
ain't that the truth?
Absolutely.
So
So, what's your favorite place? It sounds like you're more about nature, unplugging, getting out the nature, and seeing some breathtaking places on the corners of the globe people don't always get to. Excuse me. Do you like places like Italy, Europe? Do you go to cultured places that are more
absolutely.
historical and man-made, or is it always more nature leaning?
No, it's in. We love Portugal because the food is absolutely amazing, and just the architecture, and just the life on the streets, and the food. I mean, I keep on mentioning food. It's so good. Uh,
I
and
guess
so
you and I
good.
are gonna have to get together and do it just to show, hang out cooking.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah. And then Turkey is absolutely amazing.
really?
One of the most,
I've heard that.
and you want to see the most beautiful airport in the world, go to the new Turkey airport. I mean, you could spend a week vacationing in the airport. It's that.
What?
Oh, it's spectacular. Look, I don't want to, rain on your parade, but as an American, you are convinced you have the best of everything.
Yeah,
Um,
I am thinking
I'm
Detroit was cool because it has a lighted
here to
escalator that
tell
goes under the ground, and I was way wrong.
Okay, you go to South Korea, their airport there, Turkey has a beautiful airport. I mean, there's so many places we haven't been. I'm sure Dubai is incredible.
Yes, I heard.
But,
It's amazing.
they're just spectacular. I love historic things and temples.
Uh-huh.
That's why we love Thailand and Cambodia in
I was just gonna
particular.
say that. Are you taking some jungle excursions to find old temple ruins and a tour
Oh,
guide, anything like
Oh
that?
yeah.
we've been to temples where they were bombed during the Vietnamese War, and this is in Cambodia because Nixon was bombing Cambodia. He didn't tell anybody he was bombing Cambodia, but he was. And we've been to temples where we've got to climb over the rubble to get into the temple, and you get in there, and it's all overgrown by trees and whatever,
Yeah.
but it's spectacular, and you're the only ones in there. And you
Wow.
talk about herping. There's herps everywhere. But the other thing there are that you got to be really careful about, obviously, are landmines. There's still thousands.
Really?
Oh yeah, still thousands. And they have camps, where countries will come in and they find these landmines, and they're able to do it with satellites now where they can see them, and then
Oh,
they go and they disarm these. So you got to stick on the path, but
wow.
when you get to the actual temple, you can go inside. But a lot of yeah, a lot of
We
bomb.
went on a great vacation, but I ended up dead. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
That would be terrible.
yeah. No, I'm not that crazy, but the we've been to Angkor Wat. I don't know if you've ever heard of Angkor Wat, which is in Siem Reap in Cambodia. It's one of the most beautiful ancient temples, Buddhist
I'm
temples.
sure I've seen photos of it. I didn't ring a bell, but I know I've looked a lot at their temples and architecture and the jungle overgrowth and the history of it. But I will admit I don't have the names of them committed to memory.
Well, the in Siem Reap, which is where Angkor Wat is, that's Cambodia. That's where they shot Angelina Jolie. What was the character she played?
Oh, Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's where Tomb Raider was shot. Yeah. It's spectacular. So it's a combination. I mean, you're surrounded by nature. Bali was like off the charts when it comes to nature and trees and lush green and everything.
Oh
Just
yeah, the
yeah,
stone formations, the cliffs and stone formations that make all these little micro islands, and how calm the waters are. The kayaking. I've sat for hours watching YouTube videos of people just kayaking through there. The water is like glass. It's aquamarine. You can
yeah.
see through it 30 foot deep, or like no one's business, and it's just amazing. It looks like a wonderful place to go.
Well,
Just
that's Thailand. That's the Hong Islands.
yeah, okay.
In Bali, they don't. I've not. I think there's probably some places in Indonesia, but we didn't see that in Bali. Um, but we love to travel.
Man, see now here, if you're up for it, you should start your own content, your own YouTube channel of your travel adventures, man. This would be the way you describe it, and then your background and history. I mean, ball pythons will wait for you at home. Have someone look after them. You got to go on these trips, man. This is interesting. I don't feel like I knew much of any of this about you, so this is really super cool.
Well, a lot of people have mentioned that to me, but then you got to be going around and shooting everything, and
You
that's a
missed
whole,
the experience.
yeah, you miss the experience. I want to go there and just take it all in,
Yeah,
and
respect.
because you can't find anything like that anywhere else.
No, you're right. You're right. So mentally, we're overseas. We're in the Far East. What do you think of that? You've got a distribution network in Japan. One man you go through. Um, South Korea. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's just really popping. South Korea and Japan. I hear nothing but glowing reviews of their marketplace, both in person and in the culture, as far as what they're doing with ball pythons. And then Europe is really popping with a lot of new things coming out.
Yeah.
Prague morphs and others. I feel like they're making. I feel like international noise is getting louder in the U.S. And I love it, and it's great. In fact, I'm working on, hopefully, fingers crossed, improving the Robert Barclaw Iron Man 2. He did Iron Man 2. I'm trying to take it a step further. And that's something that just doesn't exist here. It's not all that complicated, but I like the input of culture and the concepts and the aesthetics from other places, especially far away. what do you think of the South Korean and the Japanese ball python market? What notes should we be taking if we're not already?
Well, again, that's a place where, people don't have the luxury of owning property in big homes. They live in very small spaces. But I can tell you that they're whatever they do, they're going to do it incredibly well. Okay,
Okay.
they
Yep.
will be precise. They'll be professional, and it's going to be, again, getting back to the whole art thing. They're going to treat these animals like art, and I mean, they sell koi over there for
Oh,
ridiculous. I mean, the most expensive koi I think sold for $1.2 million.
Oh yeah, I've got a koi pond out here, and nothing compares to what
his are
they
like
have.
half that much. Don't let them fool you.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the most expensive one I got is about $500,000. That I
yeah.
had to
Just
sell a kidney for.
yeah. Yeah. No,
He drinks half a beer now. He's lit. That one
Yeah.
kidney does him in.
yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, buckle up because
Yeah,
they're going to do some things and have shows that are going to rival ours. They probably won't have the amount of people. Well, I shouldn't say that because they got a lot more people than we do when it comes to population.
sure.
But it's like Japanese cooking. It's so precise and so clean and so it's absolutely
You're
amazing.
right. You're right. The aesthetic, just the pervasive mindset in their culture is so different than
They're
especially in the
very
U.S.
meticulous about what they do and how they do it.
Absolutely, and they're very gracious people.
Yes.
They're very gracious people. They're not verbose, you know.
Mm.
And I think I always say to people, stay humble.
Man, that's the truth. I'm told I'm too humble all the time. I'm just a nobody, and here you are on our show. So I really try to stay humble. People, want to give compliments, and I'm like, well, I'm not there yet. I don't know when I'll be there, but I'll tell you when I get there. And it's just like if you don't stay humble and keep your nose down and you're full of yourself, that's the moment you fail. So
Well, I can tell you right now, you'll never be there
fair enough. I'll keep
Fair
chasing that
enough.
carrot on the stick.
because where's the fun in that?
Yeah, true,
Right?
Right?
true.
Like, you know what the best breeding season is?
The next one.
The next one.
The next one.
Yeah. Everything is built on hopes and dreams. I mean, we all,
Ain't that the truth?
but we get to do it in such a way that we just see so much. We get so many, whether you got 10 clutches or you got 100 clutches, the surprises are endless.
Yeah.
Hey, my first year we had 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait until I get more. What am I going to get? 6 or 10? I don't know. I don't care as long as I'm getting something. I'm just excited to see what comes out of that egg.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like when you're in the horse industry and you breed a mare, you got one shot.
You got one shot.
Okay, what you get is what you get. It's not like you go, well, maybe the next, you got to wait another, year before you even try again.
Man.
And the other thing about horses is they got legs, and legs get lame. Snakes don't have legs. That's the one thing I like about them.
That's true. Well, before we wrap up here with you, we're kind of getting near the end of our time. I don't want to keep you all evening. You are an hour ahead of me, after all. We were talking about overseas markets. It's a two-part question, if you don't mind touching on it. What can we do to foster the funnel of information and genetics and the aesthetics and the respect that we're seeing in South Korea, Japan, and other markets like that are maybe emerging isn't the right term. But as far as ball python, how can we open our ears better in North America ourselves? I mean, there's some guys up in Canada. You guys, Royal Canadian, Billy,
DPR, those guys.
DPR. I mean, there's some guys. I don't know what it's in the water up there in Canada, But there's some people I respect a lot, the projects that are going on north of the border. So how can we in America keep our ears open and funnel some of that influence and inspiration better? That's the first part. And the second part is what I touched on briefly. You and I had our own issues, not amongst ourselves, but that we've come across. Some of the pitfalls of international trade. What are any words of caution, or how do you proceed in a safe and trustworthy manner, both for seller and buyer, when it comes to import export? And that's I think what I got. Unless you have anything, Dread.
No, that's what I want to hear about right there.
Which one? The first question or the second
The
question?
first one, yeah, the
The
first one.
first.
How can we listen better to these other markets?
Okay, I can tell you, I'm gonna catch some flack for what I'm about to say.
Well,
Perfect.
that's what naughty business is about.
Okay,
Catch a little bit of flack.
you're not all that.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, stop thinking that you're the best at everything.
Right.
Okay, whether it's snake breeding, whether it's horse breeding, whether it's cooking, whether it's art, whether it's construction, whether you're not, you're really, really great at a lot of things,
Yep.
but there's a lot of other cultures and countries out there that are just as good, if not better.
Right.
On the nose.
And if you go with the attitude that, hey, we're the best at this, but yeah, show me what you got, they'll shut the door in your face. You have to be, when you talk about Canada and the Canadian breeders, and you mentioned a bunch there that are all great, you have to understand that we grew up with the United States right next to us that were the best at everything. Okay, we were taught, or are always told, we watched American TV, and Americans were the best at everything. Okay, so we adopted the attitude where we have to work harder.
Ah, there it
Okay,
is. Yes.
we have to work harder and smarter to be classified in the same group as Americans. All right, I keep on bringing, I mentioned horses because I love horses, but the greatest thoroughbred sire in the history of the breed was born an hour from me, Northern Dancer,
Huh?
and it was because E.P. Taylor basically said, "Hold my beer, watch this."
Right.
He bred the best of the best, and he did what he did, and you know, so when you have, it's almost like having a big brother that is really good at everything, and you basically say, you know what, if he's gonna be my big brother, I've got to be better. I'm gonna try and be better than him. Okay,
So when you said be humble, stay humble earlier, that was kind of
and
overly succinct. And now we're getting more into that, but that stay humble, it goes further than just a simple phrase.
yeah,
What you're saying now makes more sense.
yeah, and there are other amazing countries out there. I've been to them. I've seen them. I mean, you want to eat great food, go to Italy, go to Spain, go to Portugal, go to, go to Thailand,
Yes.
Cambodia, Vietnam, Japan. I mean, I mean, what is American food? Barbecue. I love barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Love barbecue. Okay. Love steak, love beef, whatever. But,
And Texans all think they're the best at it.
they do. And it's my favorite barbecue is Texas barbecue.
But
Uh,
each thing has its place, and being
Yes.
respectful enough to understand that.
but now you look at what's happening in South Korea and Japan, and these people, they're perfectionists. Okay. They're not going to say hold my beer and watch. They're going to say hold my sake and watch this. I mean, they will creep up on you, and they will teach you a few things.
I
And
think that's happening.
it is. And you know what? Thank God for that. Right? So, just it's funny. You have to have an open mind. You have to let things in, right? Welcome things in. Be polite, be gracious, be humble, and just keep your ears open. You got two eyes and two ears for a reason, and one mouth for a reason. Talk half as much as you look and you listen, right? So that's what
I have heard that growing up my whole life, and I think that's very true.
yeah.
Okay, so anyone that was listening, that is definitely something to keep in mind because, like you said, they're coming for us if we think we're the best, and if they have not already surpassed us already, we just haven't seen it quite yet. So,
I think, look, you can't take away anything that has been done in the United States with the ball python industry. And there are some key people that really amplified the industry and brought it to where it is. Justin Kabelka, Kevin from Nerd, Ralph Davis, even Pete Call, the old school Brian Barczyk, obviously, the um, Tracy Barker and
yep, the markers, yep.
and stuff like that. But as soon as you think you are the shit, you'll take a shit.
Right.
It'll come back and bite you in the ass.
I
So
like that.
be proud of what you've done, but let other people uh, make you proud.
Don't sprain your shoulder
Stay
doing this.
hungry, my
Yeah,
friends.
right.
Right? Stay hungry for the knowledge and the excitement and the interest in
And look,
what's next to come.
everything I did for 10 years. This is the only thing I've done for 25 years, and I'm still as excited about it because it's just going to get better and better and better. And I'm still figuring things out, you know. But as far as, trade overseas and, how you do that and end up with the right people, do your homework, do your due diligence, ask for references, ask around. My problem is I think everybody's good. I think everybody has good in them. And what we've become is a society through social media of basically we've become a society of liars because we find that untruth gets us further, gets us more attention. But it only lasts for so long.
Mm,
Okay? It'll come
true.
back, and bite you. So just stay true to yourself and be honest about things.
And I think people realistically think about, do you go out there and air your dirty underwear to everybody? No. Is anyone going to go on social media? They're going to hold up all the look at this great thing I did. Are
Not
they
do
going to? Only some admit their failures, and only some are really honest. And so you have to proceed with caution about, um, who I guess you associate with, and like you said, references and listen to vetting and your friends and your gut. But I think you're only going to see what people want you to see on social media. You're not going to always see the truth. So do your due diligence.
Well, yeah, and if I don't have something good to say, I'm not going to say it. I mean, there's all kinds of times you see things and you'd like to make a negative comment or whatever, but keep it to yourself.
Right.
I don't want to be. I'm a no drama llama kind of guy.
Yep.
Okay, and I don't know if you know that reference, drama llama. If you have kids, there's a line of books called Drama Llama, No Drama Llama, whatever. Anyways, I don't like drama. Just stay away from it.
Dred and I try our damnedest to do the same thing when it's come to being on TikTok and on these. Just try to avoid alliances. Oh, Bob don't like Joe. Joe don't like Fred. Well, we like all of them. We're friends with all of them. We'll deal with them in their own capacity, but we don't stir the pot or gossip or try to. I agree with you, man. Drama and negativity and gatekeeping in the industry is only hurting us as a whole. So,
Well, and social media it's pretty bad because if you look at what people spend most of their time on, it's either freezing like I am right now.
yeah, you're freezing there for just a moment. Audio's clear.
Okay. Um, the number one thing that people do, they spend the majority of their time is on their phones and social media. Unfortunately, okay, that's just the reality. But social media, I always say that social media is. Come on, Mark, wake up
Right.
in there. Social media is like when you step out, you look out in your backyard and you see a beautiful grass yard and it's lush green or whatever, and you go walking in your yard and you step in dog shit. You're always gonna step in dog shit. I mean, it doesn't matter. That happens. Well, when you do, and sometimes you don't, but when you do, you try to wipe it off into the grass or whatever. You can never get it all off.
No.
And that's what social media is. People go to bed thinking about the last thing they saw on social media, right? And they don't sleep and they worry about things and what are they going to say about it tomorrow and this and that. And sleep is the most important thing you can get. All right, a good solid sleep. That's what's going to bring you your health. And so try not to clutter your brain. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. We'll put the steak back up and get everybody good and hungry, because I think that is probably what I need along with some sleep is a steak.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat some ribeye again here in just a minute. So
I don't know why I wonder if my camera died.
But Mark, you're hitting the nail on the head with that social media and the drama, especially like on Facebook. We just avoid that completely. Like, we don't even get into that nonsense. Facebook,
right?
I'm on Facebook, but I don't get into them groups and them forums. And you get just slammed. It's not worth it.
I don't know if
it just right.
Your
and
audio's
just like
clear.
we
The camera
don't know
went
anything,
down.
right,
It's all
Phil?
right.
We don't know anything. We're here to learn and have fun and
yeah.
And and educate the best we can, especially to the newcomers getting into this hobby. I'm a newcomer into the hobby myself. And I want to try to do this right. I made my mistakes getting into this. Well, I'll be transparent. I may not have bought this or that the right way. I may have spent too much money getting into this game. Maybe I looked at, I'm going to make money on it. Well, realizing you got to take a step back sometimes and revamp and recalculate everything. And my wife has to, pin me down. Hey, step back, because it is an addiction. And I have that, it's either go big or go home with me. I don't know that in between or small.
Well, I'm the same way. And that's a good way to be. I mean, look, I know why I'm not on camera anymore.
All right.
It's because my battery died. So I'm just going to replace the battery while I'm still talking, all right?
No, you're good. Yeah, audio's good and clear. You're doing awesome. Yep, thanks for hanging with that.
Okay, I just need to ask, is it my lapel that's giving audio?
I suppose it's super clear and super great.
Clear.
Okay, hold on. Let me just grab the... I'm going to grab the...
If he says it's what you see on social media and people go to bed with it in their minds, I'm just going to pollute their minds with this awesome food on his page. I'm sorry. Really wonderful looking dishes.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Wow.
I saw your gardening as well, which was really, really interesting. That's why I said you're kind of a renaissance.
That meal was not made by me. That was made by, have you ever heard of Chef Michael Bonaccini?
I don't think that I have.
He's a famous Canadian chef. And we went on a cruise, and he was the guest chef. So that he made that. That was not me.
We could have just said it. I mean, I'm glad you're giving credit where credit's due.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, food is like art, in my opinion. Okay, let's try this.
Food is art.
Yeah.
So you're more team lavender or team albino? Looks like I'm seeing albino.
I'm lavender.
Are you lavender? Okay.
Nah, so I'm getting into some lavender finally.
I have lavender as well.
Okay.
I've always loved lavender, and so I finally got me some stuff. So we're getting into that. So exciting to see what's coming from those projects.
Yeah, I think lavender is amazing. One thing I love about lavender is they look so good as babies, depending what you get into them. Albino was my first real recessive that I ever did. But I love lavender. I love toffee. A lot of people, they missed the boat on toffee, or but they make some beautiful combos. So, if I look at the one genes I'm going to be working with as far as recessive goes, it's going to be desert ghost, clown, lavender, tri-stripe, and axanthic.
Man, I feel like I'm doing something right with my life. Thank you for saying that, Mark.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's what we have right there.
Yeah, Dredd. That's the only co-project
We
Dredd
have
and I have
tri-stripe,
done.
yeah.
Is we're into hypo, 100% tri-stripes. We should have a pairing for visual hypo tries. Finger crossed. It'll be hypo. They're both hypo on both sides. So, but
And where
hopefully we
he
have
runs
tri-stripe
VPI
this year.
Xanthic, and I'm into the TSK.
I'm talking when you say hypo is right across the board. I mean, hypo is yeah.
Hypo the world.
Yep.
Yeah,
A lot
and
of people say that. I like
that's
it.
a gene that everybody all of a sudden is jumping back on now.
It's hot. Yeah, I hear it was a thing a while back, and everyone couldn't dump it. They were dumping it like pastel 10 years ago, and now it's the rage because it helps animals age better. It enhances the DG appearance, and I love hypo, and especially in dark combos.
Absolutely, hypo is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, my friend. All right, well, I super appreciate. I've kept you for a couple of hours now. I really appreciate your time. And anything else you want us to part ways with? Any final words of wisdom we should take with us? Well, anything else that we can do to help you on this side? Get some more animals off that list. Anything that we can do, we're here for you.
I'm gonna post a bunch of animals on Morph Market coming up. I was looking for a different way to photograph and whatever. Again, I'm happy with my photography, but I had to come up with a updated background, so that's all done now.
I'm excited.
You see the background?
No, I know. I get excited to see more back.
Yeah, that's not a green screen behind you. That's legit physical backdrop behind you, right?
Yeah,
That's so great. I love it.
yeah. No, this is all
cool.
This is yeah.
That's top shelf. You look like you're at a convention, like you're ready to be the keynote speaker right there in your own room. So hats off to you. Well done.
Well, I'm gonna start doing some lives where.
What? All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some lives. I'm gonna have a rack right
Nice.
here, and I'll pull out animals and put them on the table with another camera shining down on the animal. We can talk about the animals instead of just holding them, up like that.
Yeah.
Those lives work very well.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that, and I'll pick a different gene every time, and do that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I am exploring doing. I've got a YouTube channel that I've got saved,
awesome.
called Snakes and Snacks. So it's going to be about cooking and snakes.
Someone mentioned that in the comments. I think David would join Reptiles, I believe, said that. Yeah, he's waiting for cooking with snakes still.
It's funny that got brought up because, on the TikTok thing, I was doing a Sunday deal there for a while where I'd get out on the barbecue or just be cooking something in the kitchen, know. And then we'd be talking about snakes, and maybe I'd run to the snake room right quick and show something, and then come back out and check the barbecue, or
This is going to be great.
Fun.
So we're going to get some Markus Jayne lives. We're going to have cooking with snakes. Are you going to do some gardening with snakes? I mean, take us through a little bit of your organic gardening out there. Like, this is going to be great.
Oh, I use a lot of my rat shit for fertilizing my plants, and I grow the most incredible tomatoes.
I've heard people do that, and I'm glad you said that.
I know
chicken
manure is great to till in, so
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Absolutely.
I'm an avid gardener.
But
I like it a lot.
Like, I don't know. I should send you some pictures here of let me see if I can.
Mark, such an honor to have you on today. This is so
I can't
awesome. You're
wait.
such an
I
inspiration to
can't wait
keep
to try the
keep me
fertilizer.
going and my wife going into this hobby with Constrictly and all you guys supporting us. This is just so awesome.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I want to show you. We went to the first time we went to Thailand was for my wife's 50th birthday, and we ended up at this resort on Phi Phi Island, and Phi Phi Island was one of the islands got hit by the tsunami very badly, and there were a lot of resorts that were completely just washed away from the tsunami. But we ended up going to this one resort. It was very high end because it was her 50th and we wanted to do it right. And it was called Phi Phi Island Resort. And it was on houses on stilts, on sticks, on poles. Like they were raised up because in case any more water would come in, they wouldn't flood the rooms. Anyways, we love to explore, and we started walking around the resort, and we found this little path, and we followed this path out the back of the property, and we ended up in this very remote village, and it was just all locals, and we spent all our time back there eating with them, and everything was outside, and everything was built from the stuff that blew in with the tsunami. It was just ragtag buildings, but everything was cooked over a wok and whatever. And that's where I first started to learn how to cook Thai food. And I would order food, and then we'd eat it, and I'd befriend the owners and the chef, and I'd find myself back in the kitchen, and we'd be cooking together. I still have those videos, but the one place we hung out the most, it was called the Knockout Bar, and it was like a bar with maybe 3 stools at it, and we'd sit there and we'd drink beer, and then we'd order our food, and we'd go and sit at these unlevel wooden tables, but the food was absolutely amazing, and it was real. It wasn't, nothing came out of a box. So when we got home, I was so inspired by this spot that I wanted to recreate it in our backyard. And being in Canada, we have very severe winters, and the last thing you think about Canada is that it's tropical. Okay.
Right.
And I don't know.
No, you got 3 feet of snow most of the year.
Well, not most of the year. We've got snow usually from December to March.
Well, that's not too
Really?
bad.
Oh, that's not okay. That's completely reasonable. Okay.
So I don't know. I'm trying to find. Where is it here? I need to show you this. Can you show a video on there?
I believe so with the screen share. Let me go to my messages from you. I think it'll just play through as best I can. I believe. I don't know about the audio, but we're going to find out.
I'm just trying to find. Okay. I'm going to try and. Send you a few pictures first, all right?
I think our show has been good tonight. I glanced at my other Instagram messages. We might have some other interest off that list for you. So I'll be working on that and hammering that out in the next day or so here. Yeah, get some more animals to the U.S. side. I'm pretty excited. I myself am getting a couple. I think the prices are incredible, Mark, and I think people are missing the boat if they're not jumping on those animals before they hit Morph Market. They're fantastic, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
There's meat on the bone, so to speak. If people get in there, just be a little flexible on timelines and what the overall shipping ends up being, and we're going to work together. It's going to be super good.
The end of March, middle of April is when we're going to ship.
Okay. Well, there's an answer for everybody. People ask me that, and I wasn't entirely sure. Okay. I see some other pictures here. Oh, that's nice. Let's see here.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Trying to find.
Is this your place?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
my wife's
definitely
trying to get
brought
our backyard, like look like a resort or a backyard oasis, and it's
you
taking some
brought
time, but
some of
we'll get
that
there
travel
eventually.
with you for
That
sure.
is beautiful.
Yeah, trying to find. There is a video here. I'm gonna try and. I wonder if I should send it. Will it go through on Instagram? The video?
Yeah, as long as they're not too like huge. If they're like 30 seconds to 60 seconds, I seem to have pretty darn good luck with that. When they're 10, 15 minutes, there's they're a bit tougher, but
No, this
shorter
is
videos.
a minute 30 seconds. I think.
Oh, that should work just fine. So when's the next? Someone asked about a breeders' party. Do you throw a little shindig up here at the casa there?
Here,
It's a nice
here be.
backyard.
Um, I've not had a party here. I should. I've had, quite a few people come here and I cooked for them. Justin's been here and quite a few people from the UK. Oz has been here several times.
Oh, I think this might play through quite nicely, actually. Let's give it a shot here. Give it this feature and let me see. I don't know about audio, but here we go visual. Man, look at that. Nighttime.
Oh, he's got the good torches and everything, tiki torches and all. This is cool.
No hairspray allowed, ladies, because
I love the deck, all the decking you have.
you have definitely brought your travels back home with you there. That's what you've experienced overseas, especially in the Far East, definitely shines through here. Man, Mark, I didn't expect this tonight. I feel like we've really gotten to know more than just talking ball pythons. This is incredible.
And that's an old video too. We've done a lot of improvements out there. The plants that we put in are just unbelievable. My wife is mainly potted plants and hostas, but it's
Is that a big green egg I see right there?
yeah, it is, yeah,
Yep. That was one of the first ones I had, was a big green egg when I got into it. Really
yeah,
big.
yeah. I don't use it that much anymore.
Oh, man, I'm going to dig the passport out, grab a couple of briskets, and head your direction.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. That'd be
This
cool.
is awesome.
This is awesome.
I mean, just seems like a welcoming place to hang out. Spots for conversations, other light attractions that keep people interested. Of course, a bar, a place to cook. Like, what a gathering spot.
It's crazy how Mark and I have a whole lot in common. He bass fished. I even bass fished in Louisiana and East Texas. I had buddies that run the bass circuit,
Okay.
Lake Fork, Texas,
Oh, yeah.
Lake of the Pine, Texas.
Yeah, I'm not a hunter, but dude, I love fishing as well.
Yeah, bass
Largemouth
fishing,
bass.
man. We was
Yeah.
Skeeter Boats was built in Kilgore, Texas. That's right by the house. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
barbecue. And I mean, I did horses. I grew up next door to Louisiana Downs.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
My wife just peeking in. Anyways, I sent you one last picture there. I don't know if you got
I see
it.
that.
It's yeah. So that's at night.
Man.
It looks like a Pink Floyd concert out there. It's
Yeah, it does.
So for the answer about can videos play through, they actually do better than straight pictures as far as taking up a screen and coming across even better. So this is
right.
fantastic little exercise. I didn't know the answer, but now we do.
Yeah. Well.
Superb.
Yeah. Anyways, now you know a bit more about me. So.
Absolutely, man. This has been great, dude. I feel like seriously, this has took a direction a lot more. Personal, and but just I feel like we got to know you as a human more than just about the snakes and the breeding. Of course, we touched on that, but what a cool interview. I really enjoyed this, and it turned a different direction than I anticipated. So thank you.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Anytime. You're welcome back anytime you want to come hang with us.
And I'm going to keep
no
an
doubt.
eye out for your lives. I want to see your live shows and Cooking with Snakes, man. I really do.
Yeah. I won't cook snakes, but I will.
Well,
when in
show us.
Rome, believe what we can.
I have eaten snake in Cambodia. So
Oh yeah, I've had alligator, but I don't
no,
aspire to do it anymore. But I have. I'll try anything.
Well, rattlesnake's pretty good. I've had camel before in Kuwait, and where was I at? Yeah, in the
yeah,
Persian Gulf.
we had camel ribs, like short ribs, in Morocco. That's a place. Whew.
We was in Bahrain, and they had a barbecue, and I went up there and I said, "This is not beef. Who's doing the cooking?" And the guy goes, "No, that's camel."
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
It was good. It was
I thought it
good.
was delicious. I mean, it was braised, and I'm good
Yeah,
at that. I love a nice braised.
I've enjoyed elk in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Oh man, elk stew, and of course, who doesn't love bison burgers, and oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
there's some great meat. When you get more to Canada and out west of the Rockies, there's more options, and we just get the usual cow here in the main part of the U.S. Really
right.
delicious.
Yeah, yeah. And the food is good. It's
It
good.
is.
If you're gonna do it right.
That's right. Get plenty of sleep. Stay humble. Eat
Yeah,
good food. Have a good friends and family and a good environment, and
yeah.
enjoy what you do. And pay attention to details. If you're not paying attention to details, someone's going to pass you up, and you're not even going to know it. So I
Absolutely.
think those are the takeaways tonight. Those are the nuggets of life
absolutely.
lessons. Aside from ball pythons, just in general, I think we got some good marching orders. So thank you, Mark.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right, brother. I'll shoot you backstage here. We're going to wrap up. We'll
Okay.
run the sponsor video for Epic one more time, and we'll cut you loose and head you about your evening. All right?
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome, man. Dread, Broham.
Bro,
That was
dude,
awesome.
this was a primo. I mean, I'm excited. I've been excited this whole show.
That
I'm
was
not going to
really
sleep
great.
at all tonight. I'm beside myself.
Heck yeah.
This was
All
awesome.
right. Well, let's let everyone get to dinner, get to bed, get ready for
It's called EPIC, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. EPIC is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. EPIC is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. EPIC is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.